How's it going, everyone? This is Blueheart here. I wanted to go ahead and record a video that kind of shows you guys the build that I use and why, and give you guys some basic Sage PvP techniques and tips. I'm here in my Jedi Consular hangar with my ship. Let's pull up my build here. Alright, so as you can see, I have 31 points in the balance tree. Now let's work our way up and so I can show you what I did and didn't take. Increased damage to my telekinetic throw, definitely a bonus. 12% damage, that's great. Increased willpower, that's a given. I did not take reduced incoming damage. I felt points could be better spent elsewhere. Increase the critical chance of my telekinetic throw. And so, how about I just talk about the points I didn't take and make a few key points of what I did. So I've messed around with this a little bit. I've put 3 points in this talent, but currently I only have 1. What this does is it gives you a percentage chance to throw an additional project anytime you cast project. That additional project will only hit for half damage. I did not use the 2 points here. Instead, I put them in pinning resolve, which decreases the cooldown on my force stun by 10 seconds. And I use force stun almost all the time when it's off of cooldown, so reducing that time by 10 seconds is a big help. This is a talent point that you don't necessarily have to put talent points in, but I did. What it does is it causes your periodic damage abilities that critically hit to restore 1% of your total health. So that's all of your dots. Now what dots I have are Sever Force, Mind Crush, and Weakened Mind. So on 3 of my different damage abilities, anytime those 3 crit, I get healed for 1% of my health. But up here I have a talent point that increases the amount of healing generated by this focused insight by 100%. So if I was originally getting healed for 100 health per crit, I will now be getting healed for 200 health. So these talent points coincide with each other. Also, you have Force and Balance. This is the AoE spell I use. It only hits up to 3 targets, but this is the only spell that I get my 2.5 thousand damage plus hits medal on. This also heals you for 1% of your maximum health by per target struck. So if you strike 3 targets, you heal 3% of your max health plus 100%. So you can heal for a pretty good amount every time you hit Force and Balance on 3 targets. I did not take Mind Ward. All that does is reduce the dot damage that you take. I do usually have a lot of dots on me, so this might be something I play around with taking. So that's my balance build pretty much. I took full points and everything else here. But anyway, Sever Force is the only snare that I have, and snares work past the resolve bar. That's the only thing that you can do to crowd control targets when they have a full resolve bar. So I opted to get that, and it's also a dot. It throws a little bit extra damage out here and there. So let's go over to telekinetics. What did I take and why? I took this Inner Strength. It reduces the cost of all my force abilities by 9%. So everything I cast, it reduces the cost by 9%. If you're watching my videos, a lot of time I'm burning through my force quite a bit. So I take this to reduce that quite a bit there. And over here, I took increased my total force by 100. So down here you can see I have a total of 600 force instead of 500. That's pretty huge. So those 2 points are pretty much mandatory no matter what Sage build you're using. Over here I took another 2 points in increasing the amount absorbed by my force shield, my force armor. That's the bubble that you see around me, by 20%. So some quick math, it does a lot of healing. I throw my shield, my bubble up on a lot of different people throughout the war zone, so it does give me quite a bit of healing mixed in with my focused insight, psychic absorption, and my force and balance. I'm doing a lot of self-healing along with group healing. Now to coincide with that, I take 2 points over here in my healing tree to reduce the cost of my big healing spell by 0.5 seconds. That may not seem like a lot, but it's pretty huge considering the activation time innately is 2.75 seconds on this spell. And then so you reduce that down to 2.25 seconds. Allows you to heal yourself a lot better when you're focused and you need a line of sight, or to heal other people. Like on a hut ball, you'll see me healing the carrier quite often. And then for the filler point, this really is the best place to put it. I get 1% extra crit chance, basically. I've been wanting to mess around with a hybrid build where it's 18 points telekinetics and the rest of the points in balance. Now, that will get me a faster telekinetic throw every now and then, a new AoE spell, a little bit more crowd control, longer dot, but it'll also take away my snare, my extra healing, my extra crit damage bonus on a lot of my abilities. So right now I think this is probably the best build to use for a DPS balance sage. I mean, you could always take your 2 points out of here, your healing, put it in extra crit, but that heal saves my butt a lot. So anyway, that's my build. So basic techniques: do not keyboard turn in PvP, this will kill you. Keyboard turning is when, you can see I turn quick. I'm using the mouse to turn, right? If you use the keyboard to turn, this is how fast you turn. And it's hard to track targets when you're trying to move and turn, and you can't really strafe easily. So I hold my right mouse button, so any movement I do on the mouse turns my character. And my A and D key, rather than turn, it strafes left and right. So combine that with forward movement and strafe right. While moving the mouse, I can do circles. Now, to practice, pick a target on the ground like this. And just strafe around it while holding forward. Right? So this will get you used to using the strafe and the mouse turning. Good way to practice. So that's the concept there. Use your mouse to turn. Allows you to track things very quickly. And then you can let go of your right mouse button and click target. You'll see me do that every now and then to target low health. Otherwise, just face the target you want to target and hit your tab key, and it should target them. Friendly targets, it's shift tab by default. So you're gonna do a lot of movement around your enemy sometimes because it confuses them, makes it harder for them to track you. So say this is my enemy here. Unless I'm channeling my telekinetic throw, I'm not gonna stand here. I'm gonna jump around, hit my instant casts, snare them, push them back, slow them, do whatever you can to disorient your enemy, your target. Do CC, I've got 2 different major CCs and my snare, and I have force slow, and combine that with my force speed to run away, and then do some instant casts. So another trick you'll see me do, save my project. It's an instant cast, requires no channel or activation time. So as I'm running away from my enemy, say this is my enemy, I can be running away like this, jump and turn a little bit while maintaining my forward movement and casting any instant casts. So say I've got this person targeted. Rather than just turning and running away, I won't be able to cast because they're not in front of me. So what I do instead is hold my left strafe key like this, and then hold your right mouse button, and then you can jump and do your instant casts, because they're still in front of you technically, because 180 degrees is your front, right? So say if I'm facing this direction, they're not in front of me anymore. Now they are. So 180 degrees in front of you. You can cast stuff on them. So you can do your Sever Force, Weaken Mind, Project, Force Slow. Really a lot of different abilities. Your Interrupt, your 2 CCs. I'm spec'd into Instant Cast Force Lift plus Stun, so that helps. Always keep yourself shielded as much as you can. See, this is my debuff called Force and Balance. Every time I shield myself, it goes on for 20 seconds, and I can't shield myself for another 20 seconds until that goes away. Keep your eye on that. Once that goes away, shield yourself again. A lot of times you'll still be shielded, but your shield will have already taken some hits, so it won't be able to absorb full amount. So just refresh it. Another trick. Every Sage has Force Potency. What this does is grants 2 charges, and it increases your critical strike chance by 60% of any direct damage or direct healing that you do. And so how I use this, now if you look at my stats, click on here and then Force, I've got a critical chance of a little over 30%. Combine that with the 60% I get here, and I have almost a 91% chance to crit when I do this ability here. So my biggest hitting move is what I want to crit, so I will use Force and Balance. And you'll see in some of my videos when I do this, hit Force Potency, run away, and then try and drop your AoE in the group. Try and hit three targets. If you can't hit 3, hit 2. Almost never use it on just one unless there's no other way you can't. So hit your Force Potency and then Force and Balance. Boom! You just critted 3 people for 2,500 plus damage. So combine that, that's 7,500 damage total you just did in one hit. Anyway, that's a good tip. Otherwise, use it on your heal. Get pretty much an auto crit on that. See, that was a pretty big heal there. Very rarely do you want to use your Force Potency charges on Telekinetic Throw, because you only get 2. Anyway, there's that. But let me see, what other tips can I give you guys? Another good tip, your Force Wave, which is your AoE knockback. Say this target is a melee character that's targeting me. What do I want to do to get away from him? I'll do my Force Wave, knocks him back, followed by a quick run and then a Sever Force to snare him in place. If he breaks snare, then you can CC him, and then by then your snare will be off of cooldown and re-snare him. The problem is if you're going against a Jedi Knight or a Jedi Warrior, they have Force Leap. You want to try and remain in their dead zone. So when you force knock them back, they're already going to be right in that dead zone. If you move any further, they're going to be able to jump to you. Any closer, they're going to be able to hit you. So you knock them back and snare them. Then sit here and do some of your Mind Crush or Telekinetic Throw, put on your dots. If they start getting close to you again, start doing the strafe run and snare them again, and then turn and start casting again. And try and remain in their dead zone. So I think that's between 5 and 15 meters, something like that. So basically, if this is a Jedi Knight, you want to remain, right about here, so they can't hit you and they can't leap to you. Also, melee characters like Sith Assassins or Consular Shadows, Jedi Knights, Warriors, keep them force load. That's really going to benefit you, enabled you to get away from them, to slow them down so they can't hit you quite as easily, that kind of stuff. Anyway, I think that's going to do it this time for tips. I'll give you some more tips later. You guys take it easy, okay?